It is the third day of January 2019, and I think it's still safe to say Happy New Year. Thank you for joining us on NTV tonight, and this is how 2019 is unfolding. Tonight, the heartbreak of road carnage resurfaces.
Driver of the salon car lost control of the vehicle and collided head-on with the trailer.
5 children and 1 man, all from one family, die in Kericho crash. Also tonight, a family tragedy in Mount Elgon.
Walikuwa pale chini. Walikuwa wameungua pale chini. Na nyumba ilikuwa imeungua.
3 children die after a house was consumed by fire. Ahead, it's back to class. But questions arise over the integrity of NART's stand against transfers.
Is an inherent conflict of interest. School heads, by nature, or by virtue of the work that they do, are school managers in nature.
NTV Tonight with Gladys Gachanja.
Thank you for joining us. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Flora Atieno. Now, the heartbreak of death on the roads is with us once again, and it's in even deeper pain for one family. 5 children and an old man have died in a road accident along Kericho-Kisumu Road, and the 77-year-old man, his child, and 4 grandchildren all died when the car they were traveling in collided head-on with a lorry. Charity Mwangi gives us details of the painful journey that was the last for Ismail Otieno and the 5 children who were aged between 3 and 11 years old.
The mangled remains of an accident that snatched lives in Kericho County. A Peugeot 505 station wagon had a head-on collision with a Mercedes Actros truck at the Chepseon Trading Center earlier today.
The driver of the salon car lost control of the vehicle and collided head-on with the trailer.
The lorry, branded Almasi Beverages Limited, was traveling to Kisii, having come from Nyeri, while 77-year-old Ismail Otieno was driving from Kericho to Londiani. He was carrying 1 of his children and 4 of his grandchildren. Of the 3 girls and 2 boys, there was a 3-year-old, an 8-year-old, 2 10-year-olds, and 1 aged 11.
We are losing lives on the road, which is not good. We are still investigating what may have led the driver to lose control of the vehicle, but as at now, we are not very certain what could have happened.
The incident was confirmed by the Kericho Police County Commander James Mogera, who has urged road users to be careful, more so during the busy back-to-school and back-to-work season. The incident comes just a couple of months after another accident that claimed 40 people around the same area, and just 4 days after the Inspector General of Police, Joseph Boynet, announced a reduction in the number of road accident fatalities in 2018 as compared to the previous year. Charity Mwangi, NTV.
Now, police in Bungoma are investigating an incident where the acting managing director of Nzoia Sugar Company, Michael Kulundu, was allegedly kidnapped and tortured. Kulundu was found dumped in a trench and unconscious. NTV's Sharon Baringo with more.
Michael Kulundu wheeled into Bungoma West Hospital in Kandui town in a serious condition. He was found unconscious approximately 100 meters from Salmon View restaurant, where he was having drinks with unknown people. Kulundu sustained injuries to the head, neck and ribs.
Alafu akapatikana katika mikononi ya wakora ambao walimchukua, wakasunguka na yeye, wakatembea na yeye na wakamuumiza sana. Tumemweka mikononi mwa Mungu.
Police say Kulundu was kidnapped at a hotel along Kandui-Webuye Highway. It is believed that he received a phone call inviting him for an evening meeting with people well known to him before the incident occurred.
We are going through hard times, but those hard times should not be translated into murder or attempted murder or assassination. How many people are we going to assassinate?
Some believe there could be more than what meets the eye in the abduction saga.
na serikali ifanye malize mambo ya kulipa wakulima, kwa sababu hiyo ni changamoto zingine. Make sure that the money is released with immediate effect. At the same time, also workers have not gotten the salaries. So these are the things zinaweza leta changamoto ikakuwako. But what we are saying, we are not saying these are the cause of everything. Pengine mambo ya uongozi inaweza changia. People are struggling to get their position. And this position can be a result of what is happening now.
Kulundu's mobile phone was recovered from the ditch where he had been dumped along the Webuye-Malaba highway. It is claimed that Kulundu was hijacked by 3 people armed with guns. Kulundu is receiving treatment at the Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital in Eldoret. Sharon Baranga, NTV.
To another tragic story, 3 siblings have died after a fire consumed their home last night. 2 of the children were burnt beyond recognition, while the third, who was rescued by neighbors, succumbed to injuries while undergoing treatment. That tragic incident occurred in Banatega village in Mount Elgon constituency in Bungoma County. Zakis Mosami has our story.
These are the remains of the house belonging to the 3 siblings whose precious lives were cut short following a night inferno. According to neighbors, a fierce fire broke out at around 9 p.m. at the house while the 3 were sleeping. The rescue efforts were futile as the door had been locked with a padlock. Neighbors suspect their father of having a hand in the heinous act as he had quarreled with his wife 2 days earlier. Both parents, who are said to be drunkards, were not at home at the time of the incident.
Ni ndugu yangu mwenye alinipigia simu. Vile alinipigia simu, nikakuja nikashuhudia. Kufika mahali hapa, nikakuta watoto wawili walikuwa pale chini. Walikuwa wameungua pale chini na nyumba ilikuwa imeungua na mmoja alikuwa amepelekwa kwa sababu wenye walikuwa wameungua wote ni 3. Ambapo nilipaki kushangaa na nikaambiwa na maofisa ya polisi ya kwamba nitafute blanketi ya watoto hao kufungwa.
Others, however, believe the fire could have been caused by an accident as a lamp was found in the house.
Moto ilikuwa juu sana, hali ya juu. Wase wengine walishika panga, wakakata mlango. Hiyo mlango ilikuwa imefungwa nje. Harakati hiyo, sasa wakati wamekatakata, wengine wanasima na moto na maji, wengine wanasima na wanakimbia kwa majirani kutoa mpira ya maji kusimia moto. Moto ikiwa juu sana. Alafu wakati wamesima hivyo, wakakuta mtoto mmoja jirani Songo alikuwa ameshatoa nje. Huyo ndio alienda kukufia kwa hospitali.
Bibi yake sasa tulienda tukapata kwa lodging. Alikuwa amelala lodging ya Kipsigon. Tukapata kwa room number 2 kama amelala pale. Alafu wale nyumba 10 wakapisha hiyo mlango. Alafu akatoka nje na tukaenda na yeye pole pole mpaka kwa polisi kwa sababu tuliona tukiita watu alikuwa kwa hiyo nyumba watu wangeweza kumumaliza.
The cause of the inferno that led to the death of the trio is still not clear. The police are now, however, tasked with the duty of digging deep into the cause that has left Banatega village in mourning. Zakis Masame, NTV, Mount Elgon in Bungoma County.
Very unfortunate. To education matters now, back to school and back to hiked bus fares. Now, some parents, guardians and children that traversed parts of the country to get to school had to pay higher transport fees than usual, up to almost 3 times in some cases. This is among the highlights of the first day of the 2019 academic year, which marks the rollout of the new curriculum. Lilian Kerry takes us through some of the dynamics of the first day of school.
A capital city that has been largely idle over the last 2 weeks was jolted out of its holiday mood. Bus stops busy with the spillover nag of slow-moving traffic in some areas. Students huddled at bus stops while some did last-minute shopping in preparation of the new term, and while getting to school, they were not saved from the usual bus fare hikes.
The fare to Nyeri is today 750 and it's usually like 300-400 there. from here to Mwea is 1,000 shillings, you see, and normally it is 300 to 400 shillings.
With a break for close to 2 months, some parents were excited to see their children resume school.
They have really stayed home for some time, and actually them going back to school, it gives us some time to even rest as parents.
With concerns over children's security and mischief as they travel, some took their young ones to school, while others chose other strategies.
We decided to be coming together as parents. We look for one vehicle, then we talk to the driver, we take the number, so that once they're in school, we call the driver and find out if the girls are safe.
Many primary schools across the country were back to business as the court offered relief by ordering teachers to go to school.
Sisi tumefurahi kabisa kwa vile mgomo umetupiliwa mbali na tumerejea vizuri. Masomo ndio hayo tumeanza, hakuna kupoteza muda.
Meanwhile, the government started the distribution of 12.5 million textbooks which are aligned to the competence-based curriculum in public primary schools. Principal Secretary for Early Learning and Basic Education, Belio Kipsang, said that 34 counties have received the literacy books, while the rest are to receive them by Monday next week.
By the 15th of February, all the books, 23 million books for class 1, 2 and 3, grade 1, 2 and 3, CPC rollout, all the books will be available in our schools.
The city, which has been asleep for the last 2 weeks, came alive today with the streets buzzing with activity. And with various students huddled on bus parks, we clearly could not fail to catch the back-to-school bug. Lillian Kiarie, NTV.
Well, as students and pupils return to school, the Kenya National Union of Teachers (NUT) and the employer, the Teacher Service Commission (TAC), were locked in conciliatory talks discussing issues around a strike by teachers averted yesterday. But the meeting ended with both sides declining to speak on the progress made. So just what is the bone of contention here? Well, some experts have pointed to the decision by NUT to enroll school heads into the union as officials, a move TAC says could breed serious conflict of interest. Silas Apollo reports.
It was meant to be a day of conciliation after the Kenya National Union of Teachers and the Teacher Service Commission were ordered by the court to make peace. But that meeting ended shortly, with both parties declining to speak to journalists. Sources tell NTV that a key item on the agenda is NUT's reluctance to relinquish its decision to have school heads serve as its officials, a move the TAC has termed a sign of bad faith and which could lead to a conflict of interest. And now some experts agree.
The kind of conflict we're dealing with right now is a very delicate one because it's an inherent conflict of interest. School heads, by nature or by virtue of the work that they do, are school managers in nature. But it's a global practice that managers are not unionizable.
NUT has opposed the transfer of some 85 officials of the union, which sources within the union say were head teachers. Their demands were granted by the Employment and Labor Relation Court on Wednesday.
The union officials will be transferable within the geographic limits of the branch they are elected to serve, and the present transfer decisions outside such geographic limits are liable to being set aside.
The contention stemmed from a recognition agreement signed between TAC and NUT in 1968, and which TAC says does not provide immunity to union branch officials against transfers. The agreement is also silent on the issue of head teachers serving as union officials. NUT has resisted attempts to have the agreement revised. TAC accuses the union of selfishness.
All along, the Commission has continuously demonstrated its commitment to industrial harmony in the teaching service by putting in place structured engagement mechanism.
We cannot leave the destiny of our children in the hands of the court, in the hands of Sosioni, in the hands of the Minister for Education, in the hands of individuals.
Kaburu now says that the stalemate can only be resolved if both parties come to a compromise.
And one of the ways would be, it wouldn't kill for just making it public to be known that If you've stayed in a place for more than this period of time, we are going to transfer you. Number two, we give you reasonable time for you to prepare to leave because it is not an emergency. A transfer is not an emergency.
Silas Apollo, NTV.
On the first day of the first term, some schools in Wajir County that are hard hit by the measles outbreak had no students show up, or very few did. According to some of the school administrators, students stayed away due to the fear of contracting the highly contagious disease. However, lack of school fees and other factors also played a role in absenteeism.
Since the first reported cases of measles in September, 9 more cases have been recorded today, bringing the total number to 150. And consequentially, day one of the school calendar saw empty desks and just a few students.
Leo ni siku ya kwanza kufungua shule na idadi ya wanafunzi wale ambao walifika leo wako wachache sana, na imesababishwa na hizi mambo zanasema nini outbreak ya measles. Shida hapa yuko na pale, ndio maybe wazazi wameshinda kufika wanafunzi vizuri. Watoto walikuwa idadi ya 600, sasa karibu 100 imefika, karibu 500 wako nje bado hajafika, lakini tunatarajia inshallah Mungu akitujalia ndio maybe kesho kutwa ukuche kwa wengi sana.
At the Wajir High School, the principal says the school has put measures in place to try and control the spread of the disease.
And by the way, even if you are in the village, if God has said that you should get measles, you will get it. So that should not scare you from coming to school. So as that is what we say, equally, we also feel we will also do all the preventive measures to make sure that our children are very clean, they don't share from the same plate, and all other protective measures will take them.
He stated that the availability of the students' NHIF cover should help if any student falls ill. The governor of Wajir, Mohammed Abdi, had ordered the recall of all health personnel on leave to return and assist in the management of the outbreak. Eunice Omolo, NTV.
Still on education matters, parents of Muma Secondary School in Kisii County held demonstrations demanding the eviction of a school principal over poor performance. He has been in charge of 40 for 14 years, and according to the parents' performance in the national examinations has deteriorated each year.
Parents of Mumu Secondary School donning leaves and holding up placards, bursting into chants calling for the removal of the principal. They say they have had enough as the school always lags behind during the national examinations. During last year's KCSE exams, the school registered 1 C-, 5 D+, 16 D planes, 27 E's and 1 Y.
Tunafanya vibarua kusomesha watoto lakini hatuoni matokeo.
The parents demanded an explanation for the poor results and unanimously decided not to allow their children to go back to school until issues of performance are addressed. It's alleged that the school board has also been embezzling funds as the school lacks electricity, a laboratory and proper infrastructure.
Huyu mwalimu na ile kamati ambayo inamsaidia kule shuleni, kuanzia accounts clerk, secretary na hata wale wafanyikazi wengine ambao they are compromised. Tunataka watolewe wote na hiyo shule ianze na management mpya.
Efforts to speak to the school principal were futile. The Kisii County Directorate of Education, William Sugut, says he has sent a team to the school to investigate the matter. Elsewhere, more than 20 pupils of Kamuthadha Primary Boarding School in Embu were allegedly instructed not to report back to school due to their bad results.
Up to this time, ndio mimi niko hapa, mtoto anafaa ingie shule saa 8 shule nyingine, ndio maana tulifika hapa tena asubuhi. Ndio tuwe cleared nipeleke mtoto shule nyingine. Now he's causing problems here.
The students, who comprised of class 7 and 8 pupils, have now been left out as their parents withdrew them from the school due to fear of victimization. However, the school's principal denied having instructed the parents to withdraw their children from the school. Helen Aura, NTV.
At 18 minutes past the hour, we take our short break on NTV Tonight. We'll be back with much more. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. Fatma Malim, the activist who rescued the 15-year-old girl who was being prepared to be married off to a 30-year-old Nakuru man, has accused the Children's Office of withholding information that led to her exclusion in the matter. Malim also claims that the child's safety and protection is not assured as her family is allowed to access her at the Kabete Children's Remand that could affect the case on account of intimidation by the members of her family. Charity Mwangi with more.
On the 23rd of December 2018, NTV witnessed the dramatic rescue of a 15-year-old girl Halima, not her real name, as she was being prepared to be enjoined in an unlawful matrimony with a man twice her age. Halima's woes reached Fatma, an activist who orchestrated her rescue that led to the salon where Halima was being beautified for her groom. Today at the Milimani Children's Court, the case was scheduled to be heard, with Fatma anticipating the orders from the court that would allow for Halima to resume her studies. But the court case that was to begin at 9 a.m. witnessed what seemed to be suspicious delay tactics, with those involved being rather guarded with the information.
We had a challenge getting information as to the whereabouts of the child, as to the case number, so that was the challenge we encountered.
When the court case finally commenced, the activist and her lawyer Daki Baraku were asked to leave the chambers, with the prosecutor requesting for the proceedings to continue in camera.
We'll formally come on board to ensure that we safeguard her rights, not just temporarily, but throughout the course.
Fatma and her legal team are faulting the Children's Office, whose handling of the matter appears to be suspicious.
All the state players were a bit dodgy with the information that they were providing. So we can't really pinpoint who exactly, but our efforts were frustrated.
Though frustrated, Fatma maintains that she will follow through with the case by making a formal application to be included in the proceedings. She says that Halima's safety and protection is of utmost importance, and not following through means abandoning her to her family turned violators. Charity Mwangi, NTV.
Health matters now. Residents of Tharaka Nithe's Itheru area have been eating meat from animals that have not been tested and approved for consumption yet. There has been an alert over anthrax infections. They are going about their lives with a manifest source of infection, seemingly unalarmed. They say their confidence is drawn from government officials giving them the green light to eat without inspecting the meat. In the past 2 months, over 300 livestock have died in the area following an outbreak of the disease.
Midheru area in Tharaka Nithi County, a feast is in the offing. The village leader has arranged for the goat's meat to be prepared for the villagers to eat in the spirit of community. The free meal was unplanned for, as the goat had dropped dead shortly before it began being prepared. A kind gesture that poses a great risk to the villagers, as the meat they are planning to feast on is not inspected.
Wakati tuko na shinda ya ng'ombe imekufa, mbuzi imekufa, daktari anatuambia tumieni haina shinda, na sisi tunatumia, alafu sisi tunaendelea tu kukula shinda ya vidonda, kuara.
A chilling statement whose threat is even more real for an area experiencing what is feared to be an anthrax outbreak in both humans and livestock. Some residents, both young and old, are walking around with early manifestation symptoms of the zoonotic disease that is spread from animals to humans.
Kuna venye ilikaa, haikuwa ngonjwa, haikuwa na shinda yote, lakini venye tu ilianguka, ilichinjwa, ikatolewa mtoto tumboni, alafu watu wakaanzia kula, wengine wakachinja, lakini kula, alafu wanaanzia kutoka vidonda kama hii yangu.
Infected persons going about their daily lives with oozing wounds point to the need to create awareness so as to sensitize the residents to seek early treatment.
Anthrax haipaswi kufunguliwa. Sababu gani? Sababu ukifungua una expose huyo mtu anachinja. Na una expose hiyo boma.
Kaenda ikikula siku ya 3 nikaenda hospitali. Siku ya 4 nikakula mkono wote hata mwili saidi moja.
Early this week, 3 people were admitted at Chuka County Referral Hospital in serious condition after eating meat from a cow suspected to have been infected with anthrax. At least 10 others have been treated at various health facilities. In the past 2 months, farmers in Midheru, Chuke and Mara have lost at least 100 cows, 150 goats, and 70 sheep in the ongoing outbreak. Eunice Omolo, NTV.
To some politics, there has been a break on political rhetoric even on our broadcasts, but Siasa is back with a bang. In a year that will see Kenya undertake a national census, the positions are already being taken by politicians months before they exercise with a piece of a national cake at the center of all the arguments.
On the very first day of the year, during celebrations at Thika Stadium, Gatondo South MP Moses Kuria had a clear message to send.
Hii mambo kazi yetu ni kupiga kura. Baada ya kupiga kura, maendeleo tunapatiana kwingine. Hiyo ujinga tuache. Adio ujinga tufanya nini? Hiyo ujinga tufanya nini? Kufungua maji kwingine. Kufungua barabara kwingine, kufungua stima. Tukikuja hapa Kiambu atino horo wako hena certificate ya johi.
Some leaders from the same region have however responded.
Na kwa sababu mimi ninafanya kazi ya kuwasaidia vijana ambao wamelewa sana, ningetaka kumuuliza kwa heshima rafiki yangu MK, tafadhali kuja kule kwa Mama Care Rehabilitation Center, nitakuwekea kitanda lakini hakuna special beds, nitakupatia ordinary bed, ulale hapo siku 5, siku 7, upatiwe dawa na chakula, uache kuongea matope wakati umelewa.
Kuria remains unapologetic.
I cannot forego my right to ask for development for my region.
8 months before the census, the Gatondo South MP is raising contentious issues over development and revenue allocation to communities and regions based on their population. He sparked off the debate with this Facebook post which suggested that some regions had overstated their population during the last census and biometric technology ought to be used this time round.
What we want is a strategy that determines everybody in this country is counted using that technology, and once the result is out, we don't want to hear issues to do with the smooth end. It does not conform to the patterns and other nonsense that has been shared in the past.
These leaders under the Frontier Counties Development Council and Pastoralist Parliamentary Group claim there is an agenda to marginalize the region using the Committee of Revenue Allocation formula, claiming that they have the numbers and deserve better allocation.
The person making noise the other day who says he's also another honorable has in his household has only 2. In my household I have 6 and counting. And yet you want to compare your numbers and my numbers.
This, according to the Gatondo South MP, should not be the only consideration.
And I've received a lot of messages saying that people in Northeastern have 7 children, 9 children. Fine, that's great. They are Kenyans first and Somalis second. So we are proud of that. All we are saying is that census is going to be the final say.
When most of you are busy having good time in the bus, we are busy in matters bedroom. Therefore, people should just realize that other people are having strategies just like they are doing.
As the clock towards a census ticks on, the contention over the national piece of pie is clearly heating up. Mark Masai, NTV.
Clearly, Siasa is back. Well, to security matters, a man is nursing gunshot injuries at Baringo County Referral Hospital, while 2 others have been reported missing after being attacked by bandits in Yatia area, Baringo North. Charles Kiburet was attacked last evening as he was watering his livestock, leaving him seriously injured and losing over 100 heads of cattle. The incident has brewed tension in the area, causing many to start fleeing their homes, fearing another outbreak. 20 people are believed to have been killed in the past year, and the Saimo Soy, member of County Assembly, appealed to security agencies to fast-track investigations to recover the stolen cattle and build up or beef up security.
Pande wa kulia nikajaribu kwepa, nikaruka kitu kama puti 10, nikarecognize kwamba nimeumia, nikawacha ng'ombe hapo, nikakimbia kwa kuokoa.
Our security agencies to act upon this insecurity issue once and for all.
Changes in the police service have been made in seeking to align to the new structure as well as improve service delivery. While announcing the changes, the Inspector General of Police, Joseph Boynet, said that concerns of the increasing complaints on police brutality should be addressed to specific persons or bodies. Mel Miendo reports on the issues the IG addressed when he spoke in Nairobi.
The integrity of service by police officers has been questioned as more cases of brutality have been reported, with many feeling helpless in seeking justice.
If force is used in excess, there are ways of addressing complaints. Can complain to a superior officer, can complain to our internal affairs unit, or can complain to IPOA for redress.
In this drive to improve the police service, some officers have new office holders. 8 regional police commanders have been appointed in 8 regions and are to serve to ensure efficiency and effectiveness in the service. Marcus Ochola handles the Coast region, Eunice Kihiko in Eastern. The Central region will be led by Judy Ndenda, and Philip Ndolo will handle Nairobi. Edward Mwamburi will be the police boss in the Rift Valley region. Paul Soy will head Northeast. Vincent Makoha takes Nyanza, and Western is under Rashid Yakub.
Regional police commanders from Kenya Police and from the Administration Police Service have been recalled. We have recalled them. They retain their ranks. We have recalled them and redeployed them elsewhere within the National Police Service. None has lost their job.
47 county police commanders will be working under the 8 regional police commanders that have been appointed by the Inspector General of Police, Joseph Boynet. Now, these 8 will be reporting directly to him as they assume full command of police operations in their regions. A full digitization of the National Police Service system is set to be launched on 7th January 2019 by Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i.
Our administrative procedures and systems, and more importantly, to digitize the occurrence book, as you all know it very well, together with the accompanying crime management systems.
The welfare of the police officers is also being looked into as issues of house allowances had caused disquiet.
Those who will not get accommodation in government-owned police lines to make private arrangements to get alternative accommodation, effective next month.
IG Boynet also reiterated that the new police uniforms shall be made at the National Youth Service. Malmiendo, NTV.
Time for another short breather. I'll see you right after this break. The December holidays are usually the longest in the academic calendar, where parents usually grapple with how best to keep their children engaged. Some resort to taking them up country, while others allow them to spend endless time on social media and gaming. But in Eldoret town, a 13-year-old pupil kept himself busy by teaching street family members the art of photography. Gabriel Kudaka accompanied him on one of his teaching sessions and brings us the details.
This was a familiar sight in different entertainment spots where several school children spent most of their time during the holidays. Others preferred being on social media to pass the time. But for Samuel Kiprotich, a class 7 pupil at Testimony School in Eldoret, the December break provided him with the opportunity to do what he's passionate about.
This holiday has been a really long holiday, and I used it mainly by following my mom to the slum areas, taking photos, knowing and researching on the best captions for the photos, getting to interact with people, at least when you even teach them how to take pictures. Stable in a focus.
Kiprotich, who started showing an interest in photography at the age of 4, attracts many admirers whenever he shows up among the street families whom he frequently interacts with. And one after another, he takes them through the session. Having grasped their basic skills, the street boys then take to the lens, putting into practice what they have just learned.
Hii kamera imenifunza mambo mengi. Nikipata itaweza kunifunza mambo mengi na itanisaidia maishani.
Nimejifunza kamera, nimeona kujua ni si ngumu, ni rahisi sana. Na mimi ningependa ningepata hata mtu mwenye anaweza nisaidia kupata hiyo mambo na makamera, pia mimi ningefurahia.
Like any other concerned parent, Kiprotich's mother, who has been supportive of his initiative, has to ensure her son balances his passion for photography and classwork.
We encourage him, but we can also just tell him, as you sharpen your skills on photography, on filming, and on developing your talents, just remember that things will get better. You become a more professional person when you study up to the university. Which is a desire for every parent.
It's said that one can become the change they want to see in the world, and for Kiprotich, his camera and lens are his tools to make the world a better place.
I've met with a lot of people who have always told me that they are almost also committing suicide because they didn't really have anything to do with their lives. But when I taught them, I was like, okay, let's just try taking a picture.
During holidays, most school-going teenagers spend endless time on social media and at playstations. But others, like Sam here, have devised creative ways of spending their time meaningfully. Gabriel Kudaka, NTV, Uasin Gishu County.
May Samuel's dreams come true. Now, Deputy President William Ruto now says he is ready for nominations to determine who will fly the Jubilee Party flag during the 2022 election. Ruto told delegations from Bomet and Vihiga counties at his Sugoi home in Uasin Gishu that Jubilee Party is founded on democracy and those who will be defeated must support the winners.
Unakuta hata watu wa vyama zingine wanangojea endorsement ya leadership ya Jubilee. Sasa unashanga wewe uko na chama yako, alafu badala ya kujipanga na chama yako unangojewa ati Jubilee ikupatie endorsement. Mimi nataka niwapatie habari mapema. Jubilee will have a candidate for every position in Kenya. And sisi hatuna mtu tutaendorse, hakuna mtu atakuwa endorsed for any position. Kutoka MCA, kupitia wabunge, kupitia maseneta, ya kina mama, ya governor, mpaka ya rais. Na kama kuna mtu ako outside Jubilee ambaye anataka mambo ya Jubilee, akuje mapema. Jubilee ni wazi.
To something you should pay attention to, the Capital Markets Authority has cautioned members of the public against dealing with a company by the name Wiseman Talent Ventures that is raising money through the issuance of digital tokens. The company has promised investors returns of 10% per month on the initial investment in Kenny Coins, which is a cryptocurrency. CMA says it has noted discrepancies in the information provided in the company's website, that is www.kennycoin.com, and that the authority has not approved the activities being undertaken by Wiseman Talent Ventures. These include an initial coin offering which is now over, according to the Kenny Coin website. CMA takes the view that Kenny Coin is operating as a cryptocurrency and as such cannot guarantee investors of stability in the price of the virtual coins they invest in. Much more coming your way. Please stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. Mutuma Matthew has been appointed as Nation Media Group's editorial director with effect from the 1st of January 2019. In this new role, Mutuma will be responsible for oversight of the group's editorial policy. Mutuma will also be in charge of the editorial operations across all NMG platforms in Kenya. He takes up the new position from his role of executive editor, having served in various positions since July 1997, when he first joined as a sub-editor or writer for the Sunday Nation. Now, other positions he has held include Group Managing Editor for the Daily Nation and the Sunday Nation, Group Managing Editor at Mwananchi Communications Limited, and Revised Editor for the Daily Nation. Congratulations to him. Now, further afield, the Democratic Republic of Congo's Election Commission says it may have to postpone publication of provisional results slated for January 6th. Now, the Independent National Election Commission, CENI, has attributed the expected delay to manually compiling the results. This comes amidst calls for the electoral officials to reveal results of Sunday's presidential election following a government-induced internet shutdown on its fourth day. With the final election results expected on the 15th of January seem to be what will give the DRC its first peaceful transfer of power since 1960. Its impact is expected to be felt not only in the East African region, but the greater continent. Vote counting continues in the Democratic Republic of Congo after a contentious election on the 30th of December, which resulted in the government shutting down the internet, a move that opposition activists say is aimed at gagging communications and stifling transparency of the electoral process.
The era of holding elections and sabotaging them is also over. Because if we do so, the people will rebel and continue with the uncertainty and instability. We must not allow it.
Sunday's elections are expected to usher in the first peaceful transfer of power since the country attained independence from Belgium in 1960. This is seen as the first step to developing the mineral-rich country after years of civil strife.
What the Congolese opposition has been doing even before the election was to say, well, let's go to the election, but when the election is over, we must unite the Congo so that we have a broad national democratic government accepted by the Congolese people, which can do two things: bring peace and security so that we can have development.
With a population of over 81 million, peace and stability in the DRC is expected to have an impact on the continent's economic and developmental growth.
If the DRC joins the East African community, just imagine what a dynamic East African community will be, and how we as Kenyans or Tanzanians and Ugandans will be in a position to work with the Congolese people in the process of national reconstruction, because we have the human resources to help rebuild the Congo.
Despite elections being postponed several times since President Joseph Kabila's 2 terms in office expired in December of 2016, January 6th is widely expected to mark new beginnings for the Central African country.
However much we had problems with the election, at this point in time, it is in the interest of stability in the Congo for the opposition, which under such difficult circumstances have got such an overwhelming support from the people, respect that will of the people. And what Kabila should do is to concede defeat, but call Tshisekedi for a discussion. That look, it is in our interest to stabilize the country and create peace. Can we discuss this? And I'm quite sure that the Kenyan government, I'm quite sure that the president and Raila Amolo Odinga would definitely support a situation where a kind of handshake is reproduced in the Congo, in the DRC. Yeah.
Gladys, Gachanja, NTV. Well, Ida Waringa is in studio. She will be bringing you the sporting action next.
Get into the world of sport. News of a legendary striker Dennis Oliech joining a record Kenyan Premier League champion side Gor Mahia on a 2-year deal caused an online stir, with reports that the Kogalo website temporarily crashed due to unprecedented traffic. NTV Sport took to the streets to get a feel of fans' thoughts. Let's check it out.
Dennis Oliech kuja Gor Mahia. This is something obvious. Mnajua Harambee Stars itaenda African Cup of Nations. Na Oliech anatafutiwa namba akuje kwa Harambee. Juu maybe wale wako pale juu kwa ofisa na Oliech lazima wawe kwa ile team juu experience yanayo juu ashaenda kwa African Cup of Nations ile time nyingine so many asili Harambee ilikuwa imeenda African Cup of Nations.
Hiyo ni kama kujirudisha chini. Unajua ukitoka haya while you are going hard huwezi kurudi chini. Ni kama unarudi standard 1 while you are in standard 4. Sasa hiyo mimi naona maoni yangu amekihitinisha, amekirudisha chini.
Si baya hata kidogo, unaelewa? Cause inasemekana ukienda kujenga majuu, ujenge wapi? Nyumbani kwanza. What he's done is so good. We love him. Now he's a good example to the young players.
Well, quite some different opinions there. Let's move on. And speaking of Gor Mahia, the team leads nominations for the Men's Team of the Year for the 2018 Safaricom Sports Personality of the Year Soya Awards. That will be marking its 15th edition in Mombasa County next week, Friday. Kogalo, who defended their top flight league title in 2018 to win their 17th KPL trophy, will face a stiff competition from the national men's football team Harambee Stars, who qualified for the African Cup of Nations for the first time in 15 years. The teams named in the 5-team shortlist are the Davis Cup tennis team, Canbis Cricket Sports Club, and the Kenya Deaf men's handball team. Moving on, national women's volleyball team captain Masi Moim has signed a 5-month contract deal with top-flight Thailand side Supreme Volleyball Club. According to a report in the Star newspaper, Moim, who is the reigning Kenya Volleyball Federation League most valuable player, has been away in Thailand for the last 3 weeks and is likely to play her first match for her new club this weekend. Supreme VC are the reigning Thailand League champions. Moim, who turns out for Kenya prisons locally, has had several professional stints abroad. Let's cross borders now. An English Premier League New Year schedule is clearly saved the best for last, with defending champions Manchester City lined up to take on title contenders Liverpool at 11 p.m. tonight. City have lost 2 of their past 3 league games and are third, a point behind second-place Tottenham. Liverpool, who are chasing their first EPL title since 1990, are the only unbeaten side in the league this season. Pep Guardiola's side, who won the league last season with a record 100 points, haven't won in 4 games against Liverpool and drew 0-0 when the teams met at Anfield back in October. for sports. I'm Ida Waringa. Gladys, clear inspiration Michael Schumacher was, inspiring the likes of Lewis Hamilton till today.
And you know, it makes you wonder and actually just take notice of the fact that whatever you do in life, just leave a good legacy, because you never know when your endeavors will be put to a pose.
Exactly. Fantastic stuff.
Thank you for the sporting action, and thank you for viewing and keeping us company. A special thank you to Flora Atieno, who was our sign language interpreter tonight. My name is Gladys Gachanja. Good night.